what does the future of work look like in either in your industry or at large, in your opinion?
What does the future of work look like in my industry? So my industry is education, it's behavioral science, it's social sciences, it's working with people. I think that the future looks like going back to what we've kind of lost in this tech boom and data and numbers thing, which is going back to the basics and kind of making connections with people. I think I'm going to contradict myself and say that you need to be able to do both of those things. So I think at some point earlier on, I was saying, you need to be able to extract important insights from one interview that you have with one person and extract the insights from a pool of 1,000, right? And I think that the future is really about creating dynamic people who can move between disciplines or industries with the skills that they're learning and be able to adapt to different scenarios.
Adaptability has been a key theme.
Absolutely. And I don't think it would have been a different answer if you had asked me this in February.
No.
I think it's
maybe a little bit more right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also about being solution oriented and creating solutions to our problems, which is that's the whole point of behavioral science, is creating solutions to help us make better decisions, right? So that would be a second piece, or a third that I would add.
Okay. And how can we better prepare our students then for the future that we've talked about today, that we're seeing is coming, that we're already in some ways? What do you think is one key takeaway for an educator today who's looking to future-proof their students?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go back to an answer that I gave earlier, which is about teaching our students soft skills that aren't necessarily something that you would take a class on. Teaching our students about resilience, about grit, about empathy, about these kind of things that, end up being really important in your ability to sell yourself in a job interview, or your ability to overcome a problem in a team where things are complicated, or your ability to overcome a crisis like a global pandemic, right? I can see that would be threaded all the way through, and maybe that's not the most acceptable or traditional answer, but I'm going to go a little maverick on you and say, I think that's really important. And that's something that I'm still trying to teach my students, even as they're adults.
No, I don't think it's maverick. I think it's very wise. And lastly, a personal question for you. What do you value most, your work experiences or your formal learning training?
I sometimes don't really separate them. I think my biggest lessons have been when I was in the classroom doing something that I am supposedly trained to do, but just had to figure it out along the way. I think I have to give a lot of credit to on-the-job training, to going out there and doing things, because there's a lot that you can't learn from reading a textbook and regurgitating answers in an essay that really just come to life when you experience the challenge of what the task is asking you to do.